Last year, what was your biggest bottleneck you felt?
Probably the amount of leads that we had.
Charging $100 for that just creates this self-liquidating thing where getting on these calls are free pretty much. $254,300.
Yeah.
We're going to go through last year, how you got to that number. We're going to cover the offer, sales, your delivery process, and your content or your traffic, and we're going to figure out how you got to that, what went in behind it, and then also what are some of the changes we're going to do in 2026 to make it better. First off the bat, to make that much money, you have to have a decent offer. So what were your offers last year? Yeah, last year. It is, what's today? The 3rd of Jan.
3rd of Jan, 26.
Your offers last year, what did we roll with?
So our core offer was like a starter kit, which is like 2 podcasts a month. You get all the editing done. So the main thing behind the studio is that when you come in, we control everything for you. So within each of those core offers, you have all your editing, all your scheduling, all the management of social media and your Spotify and all that. And then our additional offer was like the exact same, but it's doubled it. So it's like 4 a month.
So you had one, so we'll just go, first offer is 2 podcasts a month. 2 podcasts a month. And your second offer was
4 podcasts.
4. So what was the breakdown of both of those? So how many, like as a percentage, how many people did 2 a month and how many did 4 a month?
It was quite 50-50. Start of the year, people always start on 2 because we always like them to get like a routine in moment then to go into the year. And then coming to the end of the year is when they start growing it and scaling it to 4, which has worked out and got nice results.
And what's the price on that?
The starter kit is $990. Podcaster Pro.
A month?
Yeah. Podcaster Pro was $1,500.
While you look, how long do podcasts normally stay on for? 6
months averagely.
So the LTV is for $990.
Oh yeah, it was correct, yep.
LTV 1,500 is $9,000. That's pretty good. So per client, you make about $9,000 if they stay the 6 months. But there was a few little issues with that that we'll fix for this year. But so your core offer is either 2 podcasts a month for $990 or 4 podcasts a month for $1,500.
Yeah, and then from within that, we also implemented the strategy sessions.
What is that?
So the strategy session is like a sales call we have prior to onboarding a client.
So it's like, you're framing a sales call as a strategy session.
Yeah.
So what do you cover in that?
So strategy sessions cover planning out like your main objective behind your podcast, why you want to do it, also identifying like their pain points and why they can't do it, and then how our offer can then help them. Pretty much planning out the whole series, and then when they come in, it's all complete and done. They don't have to think about anything or worry about anything. That's the main thing about we've found is that they think about it all too much and think a whole like 12 episode, like whole series. Whereas if we plan it all out, it's all done for them. They don't think about it.
So you're framing like the sales call as a session where you're planning out a full podcast for them.
Yeah.
So by the end of the strategy session, they don't really have to think about anymore about how to do a podcast because you pretty much told them exactly how to do a podcast.
Yeah.
And then obviously at the end you tell them that you can do that for them. But they also have the option to just walk away.
Yeah, correct.
So if they want to take everything you've built, so you basically build a podcast in an hour for them and show them what it looks like. And then at the end you can say either we can do it for you or you're more than happy to go and do whatever. And what do you reckon, how many people out of say 10, if you got the right people, this will go into like the sales section that we'll go into next, but like out of 10 people that get on a strategy session, how many people do you reckon you get over the line? Just on average, if you had a chat or you had an actual strategy session in here with 10 people,
if they were our 10 ideal clients, this is where before we have a strategy session, we always have a bit of like a background check on who they are. There's no point in pretty much calling someone if they're not going to be our ideal client and if they're not going to be able to pay for our service. But let's say like quite a few of them were our ideal client, our business owner, have the money. 6.
That's pretty good. 60%. 60%. That's good. All right, we'll move on to sales. That was your core offers pretty much. So you have $9.90 and $1,500. And then you also have your little kind of lead magnet offer, which is a strategy session, which I guess if you really wanted to, you could almost charge for that as well.
Yeah.
So in terms of like your lead, cost per lead, if we're running ads, so in our traffic section, if you were to run paid ads, you could always charge like $100 per strategy session or $50. Because you might not get 10 people on a call, you might get 5, but because they've all paid $50 or $99, chances are that almost all of them might close because they've already bought into the strategy session.
We kind of could actually do that because there's quite a few people who leads that come through that are from, like, I say, Melbourne or Sydney, who obviously can't use our Gold Coast studio. If we could charge like strategy sessions like that, we can then still help them out. And then we can also implement like our other little services. We have like the pod engine with them. But that also that sort of like takes out the roadblock of them being like, oh, they're from Gold Coast, we can't really have a call with them. But if they pay, it's kind of like, oh, it doesn't really have to be there. We can just pay for a call with them and still from a different state.
It's almost like an info model where they're paying, like, I guess if they're out of the Gold Coast, you could charge them more, or you could have the strategy session, which is $50, but then you could also have like ongoing calls, which is more. But I'll put that in the changes as in a paid strategy session. Because if you have to pay, say you pay $100 or $150 for a booked call, so if we run our paid ads in our traffic section, if we calculate through our tracking that it costs $150 to get someone on a strategy session, if they pay $150, it's a self-liquidating funnel where we'll just go $100, say if it's $100 for a book call and they pay $100 for a strategy session, that's basically a free client. But we're making the $100 and the cost is offset by the 100. Sales, why do you think you get a 60% close rate of people?
There's sort of like a little, like, I guess like a little system you can call it that I put in place where, one, it's from like the ads that we run. They mainly are directed for business owners. So we've done quite a few ads to try and figure out what ones work the best and get us the best leads and the best ideal clients from those leads. At the very start of the year, we're getting like heaps of leads, but like none of them will work. I really didn't like any of them.
And why was that?
Because our ads just weren't targeting the right people. It was targeting people either don't really have the money or it's not an ideal client who will stay on for the most 6 months.
Which is kind of a big one when that's like when you speak to them now on those initial calls when they come through the ads. You've got a good filter of being like, and again, we'll go into the next bit, which is the delivery and results section. You already have a perfect system mapped out of, if I plug the right person in, if they just follow the system that I have, they're going to get a result. So that comes back to this sales process now. Before we even get them on a strategy session, you already know what the right person is. So you have a good filter to be like, you're not going to be the right person, we're not going to do a strategy session. Or if you have the thought that they're going to be the right client for the podcast, so they've already like, what were they again? What were the main?
Well, they're going to be business owner.
Business owner, just in general?
In general, has a rough idea on what their main goal of the podcast is. Say it's like a lead generation or it's to grow their personal brand. There's a bit of an idea of why they want to do it.
That's probably a big one as well. They need to have like a why behind it.
It's like they can have a little bit of a why and then we can help them out, dive deeper, but just having an understanding of why they want to do it instead of just coming in for the sake of it. Then we can't help them.
That was the first thing that we found was when the people that were coming in because they thought a podcast would be a fun idea to talk to their mates about their run club or something. That's when it went south because they can't pay $1,500 a month for 6 months minimum because they're doing it for fun. They're not doing it to either get leads or grow their personal brand, which is where you've probably found that when you're jumping on these first calls, if they're not a business owner or they don't really have an idea of why they want to do it, then you're not going to push them through to the sales process.
But it's probably like also a good thing is like, if they're not our ideal client, we don't just go, okay, done, get off the phone. I still email them with like a Notion board or something, just so we're still helping them out. Because by the time they do all that, they may then come back to us in a year's time and still use us. So no matter what, we're still providing them with something instead of just being like, like you're not our client, leave. We still provide them with like a Notion board or anything I can help for them as well.
And as well, even if they're like a business owner and they're first starting out, say they're not in the right place to start a podcast, if you can help them get to starting a podcast by, if you give them a Notion board or a few worksheets on how they can grow their personal brand or grow a podcast from home, if they can't afford, say, $1,500 a month on a podcast, if they can't afford that, you can at least help them try and start it at home or just doing a certain type of podcast. That way, then when they're ready to start a full podcast, they're going to call you because you've helped them. Sweet. All right, delivery and results. What have you got? Well, I guess the thing I always harp on about is having like a delivery roadmap where if you, like I said before, if you plug the right person in and they follow the process, they should get a certain result. And that way, when you market it, you can market it with confidence because you can say, our system works. We just need, if you're this type of person, the system will work for you.
Yeah.
Almost 100% guaranteed. Obviously not guaranteed, but you have to be able to have a system where you know the outcome is kind of predictable.
Yeah. I think we've, over probably the past 9 months, we've built like a new little system from the start of like your strategy session to recording to post-production to scheduling and editing. That has worked efficiently and well. There is some things like a tracking that we would like to implement maybe coming into this year.
I'll add it down, I'll add that down there.
But
was it tracking?
Yeah, tracking.
Add tracking. Add more tracking.
But from like building a system like that, we've been able to, so it goes hand in hand that we're able to hire someone as well who could fit perfectly into this system. So then we can either double, goes like we're both, me and my employee are going both at the same time. So easy, I don't have to always like, they follow the system I've built, we know it works, all good. And then they can grow on both ends, or say, and no matter what, that the result that's going to be delivered is still at high quality, not be stressing that it's going to be less.
Or it's like more predictable.
Yeah.
So it's like whether or not, well, like you said, you've hired one or two, or people come and go, whatever, you've hired 1, 2, 3 different people, and they've all managed to fit into the system and deliver it the same as if you would do it, which is probably one of the biggest things is no matter who is plugged in, they still deliver the same result. It's the same as like most businesses out there, they need to get to a point where it doesn't matter who's doing the job, it's going to be the same result.
Yeah, correct.
Because you don't want to get a different looking podcast if you do it one week and then if someone else does it the next week, the podcast looks different or it doesn't go up the right way. Yeah. Which is the main thing.
Yeah, correct.
So that's probably one of the main, I always reckon that your delivery is easily the most important out of everything. Because if you don't deliver what you say you can do in your sales process, if your offer says they're going to get something and you don't do it, and again in your marketing, if you can't sit there and say we get these type of results, then like nothing else matters. If you can't actually deliver what you say you can deliver, then there's no point. What's some of the results you've got for your podcast studio? Probably
from being able to implement that system, we're able to get, solely speaking, to hit 1 million downloads, which is pretty good. It's probably over now. In health and fitness worldwide. Beyond the surface, they hit top 2 in both self-improvement and education. Belinda is a great example of that. At the start of the year, we started off at the starter kit, 2 episodes a month. After we grew a good audience, understood what the audience also liked, from there we then went to 4 a month. So that's from the whole strategy and that we provide.
That's tracking as well.
Yeah.
You'll be able to track, you started off on the lower starter kit and then through tracking and seeing what worked and what didn't, you absolutely crank it. Yeah. What did you find you implemented because of the tracking? Why did you go to 4?
We started off roughly around a 30-minute podcast, because these days a podcast is best around 30 to 45 minutes. But then we found from the audience they liked short, sharp ones, because that's when she hit top 2 in self-improvement, is when we did 14-minute episodes. So 14-minute episodes going out each week. Some we ended up doing each week, and then each fortnight was a double one as well, to start keeping her podcast in those charts. We pretty much just analysed what the audience liked. Also from their commenting, we reached out saying on Instagram stories and whatnot, and we found that their best was 14-minute ones, whereas people like Soberly Speaking, hers goes for an hour because her audience likes the hour one. So it also just varies on what your audience likes.
But that will add into what we just said before in 2026 changes, add more tracking. Like if you weren't tracking what was working and the analytics behind the podcast, you wouldn't know to move to shorter episodes. Or you're not tracking what people are saying on comments and DMs, you wouldn't know that you had to do more. And then we found also through doing more volume, that's how you rank higher on the charts.
Oh, correct.
So it goes off monthly views or monthly listens or weekly or daily. What is it?
Daily.
Yeah, daily.
Which is why like Joe Rogan and them do like every day they post something.
So the charts work on daily downloads or daily listens. So doing more volume for her actually worked out better than doing a longer podcast, which you don't know if you don't track it.
Correct.
Or you're not looking at analytics, you're just doing it. So that's why I think your sales process works really well, is because you have a clear, defined delivery roadmap. You know exactly, if you can get someone like Belinda, like client 1 or client 2, if you can find more people like that and plug them into the system, you're going to get the same result every time, which is good. So traffic, how are you finding people like Belinda and the other lady?
Through social media.
Yeah, well, like, what are your main 2 channels that you find you get clients from?
Instagram,
organic or paid?
Organic. Well, we found that, from 2024, the year before, at the end, we found that people were reaching out and liking us because of like our vlogs and personality. We touched a bit in doing like heaps like ad vows and like all that type of stuff on Instagram, but it just wasn't coming across and showing who we were at the end of the day. So we wanted people to come in, feel comfortable, because like when you sit in there, it's quite daunting. There's cameras and lights just flat at you. So we started doing vlogs a lot, show our personality, our road trips, everything. And then from there, people could, before they came onto a call with us, say they already know us from our vlogs. So they already feel like they already know each other and easy to get along. And they also feel comfortable. And then from there we also did paid ads, which was direct to the strategy sessions.
So you had
as well.
So one of your was Instagram, no Facebook? No, just Instagram.
No, just Instagram.
So it's mainly Instagram organic, which I guess you said with the vlogs and things like that, and it's very like top of funnel focus. So it's not a lot of, well, you said you tried doing education, so trying to help people on how to do a podcast, but most people we found they didn't really care about learning how to do a podcast. They were just following you because they liked your personality and the studio's personality, and they were finding that when they got on the call, or you would have found when you get on the call, they're already talking about the videos that you're doing. So they are watching it. So I think, we'll go to 2026 later, but doing more of that top of funnel type content. We just need to find a way, or usually what you said next is the paid ads, which I guess takes care of the middle of funnel and the bottom of funnel. So what did you find with the paid ads? What were we running for those?
We were running to do direct strategy sessions. Direct
to strategy sessions. So that's the sales call.
Yeah, we had like a simple funnel where it was like we had by the end of the year when we tried to get better leads was when we would literally say like your name, email, but then we would say like, are you a business owner? And do you already have a podcast? Because we're finding, as I said, like the start of the year, we're getting heaps of leads, but there was no point in calling how many, like hundreds of leads that we had, and then we weren't going to actually be our ideal client and execute our delivery that we can. So we ended up making it a bit more simple and pretty much just saying, are you a business owner? And if you're not, we can't really help you.
Which, if anyone's watching, like, you're making $250,000 a year and all you're running is a simple Instagram organic strategy, which I feel like you could probably do a lot more of or improve heavily once you refine it a bit, and then just a simple paid ad funnel direct to something like a strategy session or a sales call. But you have the enough friction and the qualifying in there that you know if people are booking in for a call about this strategy session, they're probably going to be the right person. And it's a very simple layout, which I talk about heaps, is just simplifying anything. Like having a really good organic strategy and running paid ads can get you where you want to get to without trying to be too tricky. And then it also comes back to the sales process. Once you get these people through the door, you have to have a good sales process to follow up. And close them. What a year, man. Very, very good. Proud of yourself?
No, not really.
Why?
I don't know, it's just another, I kind of have a mindset where, not like it is like it's cool that we're now able to get to that point, but I always just see like, I got there, you just go to the next one. Like,
that's true.
It's good that you got it, but now go to the next one.
When, like, Emily obviously works in the studio here at Social Lab, so what I spoke about like a few weeks ago maybe, but it's more the autonomy. So there's a few different sections in Social Lab where we give people the right to run kind of their own business within Social Lab. So Emily just does the podcast studio pretty much by herself. Obviously we answer questions and help her along the way if she needs direction. But majority is her. Like, as hard as she wants to push and what she wants to implement, you get to implement. So it also comes back to when you're around other people. So you see what Social Lab is doing as a whole. You see what Elijah does with the social media section, or me and Blake do with the media section. If you see us hitting certain numbers, it breaks your own belief in your head to be like some people would have never thought making like 250 in a year is possible. Yeah. But if you're around people that do that all the time, then
it's like, kind of like,
it just deletes it out of your brain. It's like, well, if this person does it, why? Like, it must be easy. So it comes around to the environment that you're in, which I want to do my own coaching. Yeah. If I can get 5 people that are all really, really good, and we can all grow, if I get newer people in that are a bit lower, if you're surrounded by people doing like 100K plus a month, like, you're sitting there on a call being like, well, fuck, why is that person doing it? Why can't I do it? Or what's he doing?